There comes a moment in life when worry stops feeling like an inconvenient visitor and starts acting like someone who moves into your mind without being invited. It's subtle at first. A quick thought, a fear that seems logical, a hypothetical scenario that feels wise to consider. But before you know it, you're spending hours trapped in possibilities that may never happen. And this is exactly the point where many people begin to believe that overthinking is just a personality trait, when in reality, it's a habit built over years. If you've ever felt like you're carrying the weight of the entire future on your shoulders, you've been inside this cycle. Before we go on, tell me in the comments, what was the last worry that stole your sleep? Choose just one. You'll notice something interesting later. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel because this content is just the beginning of a series that might change the way your mind works. The phenomenon of worrying takes hold when we confuse movement with progress. The mind keeps spinning, repeating scenarios, revisiting conversations, imagining problems that may not even exist, and all of that creates the feeling that you're doing something useful, as if you're preparing. But the truth is, the more you think, the more fear grows. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. What no one tells you is that worry isn't interested in solving anything. It's interested in keeping you alert. And being too alert is one of the fastest paths to chronic anxiety. Does that make sense to you? Comment if you've noticed that the more you think, the more exhausted you feel. It helps others who are just arriving recognize themselves in this too. The moment you understand that worry is a habit, something extraordinary happens. You realize you can train it. You can redirect it, reorganize it, discipline it. You can build a skill that changes everything. It's not about magically stopping worry, but about developing a kind of mental strength that keeps your mind from dragging you into places that don't make sense. Imagine this. What if you could decide when to think about something and when not to? Hold on to that question because it'll be important later. And if that caught your attention, subscribe now so you don't miss the next chapters on this skill. The biggest problem is that we grew up believing that worry means responsibility. If you don't worry, something will go wrong. How many times have you heard that? You might even repeat that to yourself. But excessive worrying is an illusion of control. You try to predict everything because you're afraid of facing the unexpected. But here's the irony. The more you try to control things, the more you lose control of yourself. It's a cruel, silent paradox. And since we're here in a safe space, tell me in the comments, do you think you worry to solve problems or to protect yourself? Your answer will help you see yourself much more clearly as the video goes on. There's something extremely powerful happening in your mind when you enter a worry cycle. Your brain believes it's protecting you from danger. It can't distinguish between a lion standing in front of you and an email you haven't replied to yet. To the brain, both are threats, and it reacts the same way. That's why your body gets tense, why your breathing shifts, why you feel like there's something heavy on your chest. It's physiological. It's not weakness, not drama, not a lack of willpower. You're biologically reacting to an internal alarm that never shuts off. If that made sense to you, leave a comment saying "makes sense" so I know we're on the same wavelength. And here comes the turning point. The number one skill for stopping worry is not eliminating negative thoughts, but learning not to follow them. There's a massive difference between thinking something and believing it, between a thought appearing and you getting carried away by it. Those who master this ability create an internal space, a moment of choice, a kind of mental distance between thought and action, and in that space, freedom is born. It sounds simple, but it's transformative. Before I explain how to train this, answer in the comments, which thought, if you could observe it without following it, would change your life immediately? No need to overshare, just a short sentence is enough. A lot of people try to control their minds by fighting thoughts. Stop thinking about this. I can't feel this. I'm going to try not to worry. But fighting worry only makes it stronger. It's like trying to put out a beach ball underwater in a pool. The more force you use, the harder it shoots back up. The secret isn't pushing it down. It's learning to let it float. It sounds counterintuitive, but as the video goes on, you'll see that it's exactly this counterintuitive approach that sets you free. And since we're talking about freedom, if this content is helping you in any way, share in the comments which part made you reflect the most. It might help someone who's reading and feeling alone in this process. And also hit subscribe. You'll notice that the more you follow this series, the more your mind begins to gain structure. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many years you've been worrying too much. It doesn't matter whether it came from childhood, trauma, responsibilities, loss, or expectations. The skill you're going to learn in the next blocks works precisely because it doesn't require you to change your past. It only requires you to reorganize your relationship with your thoughts. And that's something anyone can train at any stage of life, including you here, right now, looking for a way to breathe better inside your own mind. If this resonated with you, drop a "I'm here" in the comments so I know we're walking through this together. Now that you understand that worry is a trained habit, not a fixed part of your personality, we reach the point where most people get stuck. How do you interrupt the cycle before it pulls you in again? There's an invisible line between noticing a thought and being swallowed by it. And this line, which we call the moment of choice, is the most fertile ground for building the skill that gives you back control. You may have never noticed when this moment happens. After all, it's quick, almost imperceptible, but it's always there. And now that you know it exists, you'll start spotting it in your daily life. By the way, tell me in the comments, do you remember the last time you realized you were worried only after you were already deep in the thought? Your answer might be the insight someone else needs to read. One of the first things you can do to create distance between yourself and worry is to identify the emotional tone your thoughts arrive with. Worried thoughts never come in neutral. They come loaded. They bring a bodily sensation, tightness, tension, discomfort, and they almost always show up with urgency. Urgency is worry's trick. It convinces you that something must be solved right now, even when nothing can actually be resolved in that moment. When you notice urgency, you'll also notice that it's a sign the thought doesn't want a conversation. It wants control. When that happens, take a deep breath, observe it, notice the physical sensation, and tell yourself, I don't need to decide anything right now. If that simple sentence sparks something in you, comment below. In what situation do you most need to remember this? Your answer might inspire someone else to try the same. The second technique is simple but extremely powerful. Name the thought for what it is. Instead of saying, what if something goes wrong? Say, this is a worried thought trying to alert me about something that hasn't happened. It seems subtle, but this shift breaks half the power of the thought. It stops being a reality and becomes what it actually is, a story. And stories can be seen from a distance. When you name the thought, you take away its status as absolute truth. And that creates a clearing in the mind, a space where you can breathe before reacting. If this technique reminded you of a thought that tends to return again and again, share in the comments what its pattern is. Without personal details, just describe the format. What if? I need to fix. I'm afraid that. You'll notice something important when you read other people's answers. There's also the practice of setting a worry time. Yes, you heard that right. Instead of trying to stop your mind from worrying, you organize the worry. It works like this. Throughout the day, every time an intrusive thought appears, you mentally say, this goes to today's worry time. And then you move on with your day. When the scheduled time arrives, it could be late afternoon, for example, you sit down and deliberately think about that topic for 10 minutes. You know what happens most of the time? By the time worry hour arrives, half of your thoughts have already lost their appeal. They no longer seem so urgent, so serious, so threatening. It's as if putting the worry on a temporary shelf breaks the emotional contract it tries to make with you. If this idea made sense to you, comment below. What time of day would you choose for your worry hour? This exchange in the comments might become a small collective ritual of mental organization. Another essential practice is learning to differentiate worry from solution. And this may be one of the most important skills in this entire script, because the worried mind loves to disguise itself as a productive one. Worry focuses on what might go wrong. Solution focuses on what can be done. Worry runs in circles. Solution moves in a line. Worry creates frightening scenarios. Solution creates concrete steps. If you're thinking repeatedly without arriving at any real actionable step, that's not planning, it's anxiety in disguise. So ask yourself, whenever you're stuck in your head, what is the next concrete step I can take? If no concrete step exists, it's not a real problem. It's just a thought. Leave in the comments an example of when you confused worry with solution. This kind of sharing creates a smart, aware community, exactly what this channel aims to cultivate. And since we're talking about distinguishing things, let's move into a delicate point. Sometimes you're not trapped in worry itself, but in trying to control what you feel. The truth is, worry feeds on resistance. The more you try to push it away, the stronger it returns. Maybe you've lived this. You decide you're going to stop thinking about something, and minutes later, you're obsessed with the same topic again. That's the paradox of control. So instead of fighting, try observing. Instead of resisting, allow. This doesn't mean agreeing, more accepting a tragic outcome. It means creating an internal environment where the thought can pass through without turning into a storm. This skill is trainable, and the more you observe without reacting, the stronger it becomes. Leave one word in the comments that describes how you feel when you try to control everything. Just one. That word will represent your journey up to this point. You might now be wondering, but what about when the fear feels so real that observing isn't enough? This is one of the reasons so many people get lost in anxiety. The body reacts before logic does. Your heart races, your breath shortens, your chest feels heavy, and all of that creates the sensation that something is truly happening. In that moment, the best thing you can do is shift your attention to something concrete, something sensory. Notice the weight of your body on the chair. Feel the temperature of your hands. Listen to a specific sound around you. It's like pulling your mind back into the present by the collar. It's simple, but it takes the brain out of threat mode and places it back into awareness mode. If you've ever felt your body react as if you were in danger, even without a real cause, comment below. What was the most vivid sensation you remembered just now? Your answer will help others understand they're not alone. Now imagine what your life would look like if you applied these practices every day. It's possible that for the first time in years, you'd start to feel space inside your own mind. Not total silence, but a kind of internal order. A sense that even when thoughts appear, you're not dragged away by them. This is the skill that transforms worry into choice. And in the next block, you'll learn how to consolidate this transformation in a deep way, creating a relationship with your thoughts that supports long-term peace. Before we head there, leave in the comments which technique you're going to try first. It helps you commit, and it also gives others ideas. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. This journey becomes much lighter when we walk it together. If you've made it this far, you've probably realized something powerful. Worry doesn't disappear all at once. It comes back, reappears, tests your openings, and that's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're alive, with an active mind, trying to navigate an unpredictable world. But there's a monumental difference between a worry showing up and you being controlled by it. That difference is built through practice, awareness, and repetition. And now we're stepping into the part most people overlook: consolidation. This is where the skill grows roots, where it strengthens, and where it begins to transform your life from the inside out. Before we move on, tell me in the comments which idea stood out to you the most so far. Just by writing it down, you reinforce it in your own mind, and you might help someone else who's reading and needs exactly that message. Consolidation begins with a quiet commitment. You decide that you are no longer going to respond automatically to your thoughts. It sounds obvious, but living this way changes everything. Much of anxiety is born from the automatic response, the impulse, the rush to solve whatever the mind invents. When you understand that you don't need to respond immediately, worry loses half its strength. And this is where you begin to internalize something even deeper. You don't need to trust all your thoughts. Some thoughts are simply echoes of fear, others are old reflections of past experiences, and others are baseless assumptions. Learning to tell the difference is a training. Before I explain how to deepen this training, drop in the comments a phrase you could use to remind yourself not to react automatically. Something simple, your own personal reminder. One of the most effective ways to consolidate this skill is to observe the pattern of your worries over time. Because the worried mind has a curious trait. It repeats the same themes dressed in different clothes. Today it's, what if this happens? Tomorrow it's, what if that goes wrong? And next week it's, what if I'm not ready? The content changes, but the structure is the same. When you begin to notice these patterns, you stop being a participant and start being an observer. And when you observe, the mind loses its ability to fool you with its old tactic of urgency disguised as importance. Comment below, without personal details, what is the theme that returns most often in your mind? This will help you see repetition where before you saw novelty. Another step is strengthening attention. Attention is the muscle that keeps your mind from wandering into territories that fuel anxiety. I'm not talking about traditional meditation with perfect posture and incense, unless you want that. I'm talking about small daily practices like stopping for 30 seconds to notice your body, your feet on the floor, your breath touching your nose. These micro practices create micro spaces, and those micro spaces free you from the automatic loop of worry. It's astonishing how just a few seconds of presence can dissolve a thought that felt enormous minutes before. If this has ever happened to you, if a moment of presence dissolved something that felt huge, leave a comment with one word that describes that sensation. You'll notice a pattern in the comments. But there is something even deeper in consolidation, learning to trust your ability to handle whatever comes. Because the real fuel behind worry is not the thought itself, it's the doubt about yourself. The worried mind always asks, what if I can't handle it? But when you look at your life with honesty, how many things have you already overcome? How many situations that seemed impossible have you gotten through? How many times did you think you wouldn't have the strength? And yet you did. When you remember this, you realize worry tries to convince you of a lie, that you are fragile. And you aren't. Comment below with one victory of yours, even a small one, something you managed to face. That kind of sharing creates a powerful atmosphere for anyone arriving here now. Consolidation also involves accepting that to exist is to take risks. There is no life without uncertainty. There is no future that is completely safe. There is no path that is fully predictable. And that's okay. When you try to eliminate all uncertainty, you also eliminate the possibility of living fully. It's ironic, but the more you try to guarantee that nothing will go wrong, the farther you move from everything that could go right. The skill we're building here doesn't eliminate risk. It gives you the strength to walk even with it. That's what separates someone guided by worry from someone guided by their own awareness. If that idea touched you, comment, what have you been avoiding in life because you're afraid something might go wrong? Your answer might open a reflection for someone else who's also holding back. During the process of consolidating your ability not to follow worried thoughts, you'll also notice something subtle. The mind begins to respect your boundaries. When you establish internal standards, when you observe without following, when you organize your worry, when you notice your body, when you identify patterns, the mind learns it no longer rules the territory. It stops being a force that pushes you and becomes a force you manage. This doesn't mean you'll never worry again. It means worry stops being the boss and becomes just an occasional visitor. Imagine how that changes your day-to-day life. You wake up feeling lighter, difficult thoughts pass with less strength, and you begin to live more in the present. Comment below how you imagine your life would look with less worry. Visualizing this is already part of the shift. Now, remember that moment in the first block when I asked you to keep in mind an example of something you once worried about that turned out fine? Now it's time to use it. Look at that example honestly. How many hours did you lose thinking about something that eventually resolved itself? How many days did you carry a weight that in the end had no real reason to exist? This is the biggest argument against excessive worry. It predicts a lot and gets very little right. This realization isn't just liberating, it's transformative. If you want to share without exposing yourself, comment with just one word that represents that moment that turned out well. Just that, one word. That word will create a point of connection between you and others who will recognize themselves in it. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, I want you to remember something fundamental. You are much bigger than your thoughts. You are bigger than your fear, bigger than your anxiety, bigger than any story your mind invents to try to protect you. The skill you're learning here isn't just about worry. It's about living with more clarity, more presence, and more courage. And before we close, let me gently ask you something. If this content touched you, if any part of it opened a window in your mind, if this script helped organize something inside you, consider subscribing to the channel. Not out of obligation, but because this may be exactly the kind of content you need to keep close, especially on the days when the mind feels heavier than it should. And I really want to know, what did you learn from this experience? What made the most sense to you? What did you discover about yourself? Tell me in the comments. Your story matters, and it might be the light someone needs to breathe a little easier today.